This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 5, beginning at verse 1. Nevertheless, as concerning the tokens, going into signs, behold, the day shall come that they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hid, and the land shall be barren of faith. Verse 2. But iniquity shall increase above that which now thou seest, or that thou hast heard long ago. Skipping to verse 8, there shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and mischievous women shall bring forth monsters. Are we not seeing, I remember that was beginning of the year. It's lucky for that. Are we not living in times? I think it was like sometime last year where they was showing in California you had mountain lions roaming like communities, in packs, and what was odd about it because from what Esau has basically gained knowledge of, basically observing mountain lions. They are solitary animals. They usually hunt solitarily or by themselves. Now they're roaming in packs because that's the spirit of the Lord being put on them to, because it's going to be teeth of wild beasts out here, as amendment for scourges. It's going to be as judgments to, wicked ass people. Lord, I was just listening to Brother Bakar Moth, the brothers who page is Bakar Moth, and he was making a statement about how the Lord can have judgments on people hoping to die, but they not dying and just wild beasts feeding on their flesh while they alive to feel that. Because it tells you in the scriptures that the Most High is the King of terrors. Skipping the verse, I'm going to read verse 9. And salt water shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall do. And salt waters shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into his secret chamber. Verse 10, and shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and incontinency be multiplied upon the earth. And when you go into the word incontinency, it basically means lawlessness. So we living in a time where you have a shortage of police officers because they chose not to partake in the experiment, the great experiment. That's a word, you know what I'm saying? The catchphrase, I guess. They chose not to deal with that bitch Vanessa. So man. So in order to in order to keep themselves from partaking in something that they didn't want to partake in, they rather quit than be forced to do something they didn't want to do. So that's a lack of police forces. Then right now it's like just a stressful time. You got a lot of people walking away from jobs. Brother Koroboff was just speaking on that. Although they're playing their hand like they don't care because you got CEOs firing people like 1,900 to 1,000 people at Zoom meetings. At a time when they talk about it's a shortage of workers, just showing you how all this is like either it's a spirit of stupidity or these devils, or it's literally, all the will of the Yahweh should be outside at the end of the day. But it's all leading up to that big pot of the Lord fucking this place up, because the Lord about to work his work because they have made void thy law. Psalms 119. This is verse 11. One land also shall ask another and say, is righteousness that maketh a man righteous going through thee? The point was verse 10, because of the incontinencies, which is lawlessness, I was going to get Matthew, because I got a short clip. This book of Matthew, chapter 24, when you read, where am I trying to go? Verse 12, this is red letter, so this is the Messiah, Yahushua Mashiach, our big brother, our Lord and Savior, speaking, because he prophesied what the end times will look like. And that's why I started with that second Ezra, because, it talks about the tokens. When you go to the tokens, it means the signs. That's what we as watchmen are doing. We're looking for the signs that was written in the scriptures, because it's not that we're, saying a new thing. We're reading out of the scriptures, the Lord left signs, Most High Yahweh Shah left signs on the earth with how because this is a living book at the end of the day. Like the book of Isaiah talks about, no book shall have its mate. This is the only book that has prophecies in it, because the prophecy is to say before, you know what I mean? So the book has things written in it that was written for our learning that about events that would take place. That's how cold the Most High is, and that's why this book it has no other mate. No matter, you could utilize other books that will actually like bring out points that are clear in the scriptures to those that know the scriptures, and maybe that'll help bring a person that's not learned in the scriptures to the understanding of the scriptures. But you don't need any other book really to justify the scriptures, and no other book as far as these religions. Because when you go into the word religion, it means religio, meaning to buy. They don't carry prophecies. You know what I mean? If anything, a lot of the religions and books are trying to be mirrored after the scriptures. I was listening to this guy. He got a channel called Unplug Him. And he a Jake. And, I don't know if he's set up or what, or he just completely bugged out. He know he Israel, but he called on the name of Christ. There's a lot of little things. And I can hear, he has had a channel for like the last 7 years too. And he knows some things about the left-hand side. And that's why I kind of watch him, because he like said, but he bugged out like way to a degree too. He thinking, he leaning on his own understanding. You know what I mean? Like I said, they just on something simple like that. And he knows some stuff about the left-hand side, because I've heard him say stuff, and I've heard the elders say stuff, like the elder Yashawaba. Certain stuff he said I'm aware of, because certain things I knew before I came to the truth. So it was like, but at the same time, if you can't even get the understanding that, why would you be calling on Christ if you know that you are an Israelite? Then that showed that the Lord was only dealing with you so much. But then he can't be told any correction. But I'm not trying to digress. It was a point I was gonna make with saying all that. Salakia, the Lord just took the thought away from me. It was something I was gonna say for me even bringing this guy up. Salakia, escape my mind for right now. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And we live in times where iniquity shall abound. That means the sin upon sin. And there's all kind of ways to sin, because sin is basically transgressing the law. And there's laws in regards to stealing and, I heard the elder, my Dr. Zakba from South Carolina, even say that. He said, just because of certain things, can you go just steal from Esau? He like, no, that's stealing. You know what I mean? Like now, at the end, when it's, because everything is through the spirit, but you ain't just supposed to just, commit crime and whatnot. It talks about obey the rulers, obey the governing bodies, the authorities, roughly paraphrased in the book of Romans. You know what I mean? Because the Most High put those people in the power. You know what I mean? So, the thing is, Jacob obeyed Esau, Edom's laws, but won't obey Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai's laws. And eventually the laws, Esau, Edom is not even following his own laws. So you about to see a land of lawlessness. And that's what they want. That's why they put people in desperate situations. They gave people this stimulus money and then took it away abruptly. When the economy is not fixed. You know what I mean? If anything, you got more workers, people out of work now with none of these programs in place. So this was all set up for real. Now, don't get me wrong. I was just listening to, it's a guy I work with, a young guy. He talk about, it's all kind of programs set up by this administration for people not to work. So they're telling you on one hand, it's not enough workers, but then they set up where you don't have to work. I'm hearing about a new round of PUA and all this old shit, all based off of this bill that just passed. This infrastructure bill, which is probably gonna be set up to enforce them moving around. This dark winter is more than just cold. I mean, that dark winter, a lot can be done when lights are turned off, and you haven't really seen too much of that yet. So, when we begin to see that, that's a perfect time and perfect cover. If you ever go see the movie V for Vendetta, if you was speaking up against it, I suggest brothers that haven't seen it that are in the truth to go watch it, because they lived in basically a totalitarian state. You know what I mean? And if you said anything against, the ruling powers, you like late night they come pay you a visit and snatch you away. Yeah. So I'm gonna show a little bit of this video because that's what prompted this lesson, and then I will end the lesson. Lord willing, is edified.
Were you recently injured in a car accident? Look at this chat code for an injury.
So I'm pretty sure I could go find other videos that probably show more crime, but basically the point is showing you uptick in crime. You know what I mean? Because like I said, again, people. Now you got people like I said. This is in the city of I believe Oakland or California or whatnot, and you got people that's basically just taking advantage of the situation because they see as a lack of police officers and whatnot. But with the dwindling supply chain, is gonna go from people just trying to what's the word, capitalize, because they see that things are lightweight. Like this place is because it's showing you the state of this place. This place is dead. You know what I mean? Like, when have you ever seen? We was just talking about this at camp last week. You know what I mean? When have you seen? I've always seen right after Thanksgiving, these cities start throwing up their Christmas lights, holiday, decoration shit. We haven't seen that. We already on the 7th now. Brothers are saying maybe the supply chain, yada, yada, yada. But majority of the time, most of them cities that, they don't go buy that shit every New Year. They do like most families that celebrated Christmas. They keep the tree until they need a new tree. Only Esau, Edom go buy a real tree and get a new tree every year. Showing you how he the fucking devil. He really cut out a tree. When I was in the world, our family, we had a plastic one. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like my dad. My dad didn't celebrate that shit. It was like my sister. You know what I mean? Like, kept a tree. But my point being, he saw Edom. So my point being is that like these cities usually have all those lights and those trees. They'll use the trees. Now the cities sometimes will use the real trees. You know what I mean? But maybe that's why. But as far as I don't even see lights up. So the birth of this place is dead. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, this is the new norm. You know what I mean? Because like I said, people are looking to capitalize. You know, and they see how sweet it is because it's a lack of police officers. But eventually, it's gonna get to the point where people that don't even have never like what's that movie with who was that Dick and Jay. I think it was Jim Carrey and that one chick. I can't think of her name, but they was like middle class, well to do people, and basically they lost their jobs and was like desperate times, so they began to commit crimes. And they was getting off on it as well. I never really saw the movie. I seen commercials on it, maybe a bit here and a bit there. You know what I mean? I like Jim Carrey and what I liked him, and I didn't like him and everything. I just wasn't a huge Jim Carrey fan. Had to watch everything he did. You know what I mean? When you take time to think about it, for not to digress like that, but you know, just a thought popped in my head. And Living Color did discover a lot of talent. You know, because you got a lot of people came from that show. Jennifer Lopez, Jim Carrey, David Greer, Tommy Davidson, of course the Wayans brothers, but Salakia for the digression. So let's show you the time we in. Like I said again, this place is on the decline because of the fact of the wickedness here. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna get this. I got two more scriptures. This is the book of Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 9. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her. And, this place will not be healed. You know what I mean? Due to the fact, like I said again, I was listening to somebody tell me about, like, they got a new round of PUA coming. They just passed this infrastructure bill. They're talking about it's supposed to be stimulus checks within that. But you had people that didn't get stimulus checks, period. That's how you know they're watching this. I remember the elders were saying when they first started giving out the stimulus checks, the elders was like they didn't get none. Like I think all the main top apostles, the elder apostles, Salakia, because you got elders and then you got elder apostles. The elder apostles said they didn't get any. So that's just proof to show you that they're watching this. And I know they're watching this. You know what I mean? Not based just on like, I know, brothers always saying it, but I know. But you know, like they watch it for real. Like you say, and that's the thing. That's another thing that got Tuchano is unplug upset. He was talking about moving and being as wise as serpent as humble as doves. So yeah, he right. To a degree, you're supposed to use wisdom and you supposed to, but it's one thing to like try to call yourself hiding, because at the end of the day, it talks about the book of wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, about how the righteous man should stand in great boldness. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you're going to be persecuted for this. If you think that you're going to be a person that's just going to be in the shadows and, you know what I mean? Like, no. Because how, based on your testimony, was when the apostles literally saw the Messiah resurrected, that put them in the spirit to go preach even more boldly. And that's what gained more followers. So our testimony will be, like, even the persecutions will be a testimony to you know what I mean? The Lord know what he doing. I mean, like I said again, the man knows some things about, like, the occult, meaning the hidden, the esoteric things behind certain things like music, whatnot. And I will give him that because, like I said, but, to a certain extent, he's lightweight, a baby. And then he has like a proud spirit on him as well. And we all could deal with that proud demon, knowledge puffeth up. But at the same time, it's like, as proud as he is, he don't even understand he's like a child in this thing, because he up there talking about the other nations, all my brothers. And so, well, if you knew the scriptures the way you think you do, that you should know that you are of a nation, so all these other nations is not your brothers and sisters. But Salakia, because it was just like it pissing me off, because like I said, I was listening to him, and then the more we listened to it, like, yeah, I mean, so some shit he's dead. Like the brother, the head of our account was saying, like he threw in our group chat with it. He was like, listen to this guy. He's like, this guy bugged out, will be dead right or so. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's the balance, his balance. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know, but like I said, with all these new stimuluses, all these what's the word? Social service measures that's being put into place, like I said, with the new stimuluses and with the new PUA rounds to benefit, these businesses and whatnot. That shit is not going to heal this place. This place is done, because now you have an uptick in situations like that with the crime. I was listening to New York, the crime rate has supposed to went up. In our city, Cleveland, the crime rate has went up. Chicago, of course, of course you see that. That's like I said, I think Oakland or something like that. And it's only going to get worse. Like I said, I used the analogy of the mountain lions that roll solitarily. Now they're rolling in packs. Well, you have these predators, because what happens when it's a gang of rapists? A gang of stick-up kids, robbers, but they use violently aggravated robberies. That got weapons involved. All this shit is about to, because we at the decline of this play. But at the same time, it's the will of Yahweh Shem Yahshua as well as these elite. They want an uptick in crime so they could use, the military to enforce order. Verse 9 again, it says, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgments reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. Yeah, I mean, you see it different judgments. I was just, I had an article pop up in my news break talking about an elderly woman. The police was pursuing a suspect, and an elderly woman was killed in a crash. Judgment has been happening. Judgment happens day by day. That's in the scriptures. I think it's either Psalms 9 or Psalm 7. 7 and 9 or 9 and 9. But, talks about the Lord judgeth every day. And I believe it's in one of those Psalms. But, so judgment been happening every day, period. But it's, as of lately, like I said, I want to say around like Halloween, it's really been just back to back to back to back. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, this place is going to be judged ultimately by the ICBMs, So I got one closing scripture. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, point is 16. For there shall be sedition among men, evading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions and stand in their power. There are laws set in place where you can't just go and take a person's belongings. They just looted that store within, what? That was 30 seconds. Because they coming in numbers and swarms. You know what I mean? They was talking about it's a program for them drones that they could put on them, that they could make a swarm of drones attack you as if like it was like a swarm of bees attacking you. That's how they just swarmed that store. So they don't regard the people in authority, the police officers, the mayor. They probably laughed at that bitch. Oh, this is affecting the social programs, and like the fuck, nobody cares. Because when people are desperate, they're not waiting on a solution. Well, a person that without faith, that lacks faith, they're not waiting on like the Most High or to go to wait. They go to like become carnal and move. Like they gonna look at the here and now. They're not gonna be looking at. That's why a lot of people are not gonna walk this walk, because they're not looking at the reward that comes in the future. They're not waiting on. They try to control their own destiny, not understanding that they don't control anything. They don't have free will like that. So they go to try to control and manipulate the situation through their own power. So that's why it talks about the course of their actions instead of their power. The man should desire to go into a city and shall not be able. You already see it. That taking place to a degree, with these grade passes. And it started in other cities and they showed it like constantly on RT and whatnot. You don't think that is eventually going to come here? And the thing is, these people so docile, but it was an article I was just looking at. They was talking about how the fluoride actually makes a population, especially a man, because a man is supposed to be like the protector. And, men back in the day would stand up. That's why it was way more revolts and shit like that. They don't even tell you with the slave rebellion. They don't tell you how much, it was way more slave revolts than what they will tell you. Why? Because they want you docile. Now look at our generations. It's just, oh yeah, well the white man, that was in the past. No, like they you think it was just that Turner and it was one guy, I can't name of it. I think his name, I can't think of his name, but I put it in the group chat one time. I thought I saved the channel, but I can't remember the name of the channel. But basically, the guy was living in a state where there was slavery. Him and his woman basically was picked up and put in slave. No, I think they basically was like the slave owner sold them to another plantation, split them up. So, long story short, he the man ended up some kind of way getting free and making it to Canada, where slavery was illegal, just like Mexico, where slavery was illegal. And then he ended up like working, saving up money, and he was gonna go back to try to buy her freedom. Come to find out, like she was being sold. I probably butchered the story to a degree, but I think he came back to buy her freedom, found out she was being sold, so he put himself back into slave servitude, or put himself back into slavery. But when he put himself back into slavery, uh, he came in there with like all these different like tools to basically break free. So some kind of way he was put in like a cargo hold and chained up, and with the tools I guess he got the people that was on like that was put in the solitary or chained up as well to some kind of way escape out of there. Long story short, he ended up escaping up out of the ship or out of the chains and taking over the ship. And basically come to find out it was like all spiritual because some kind of way he didn't even know his Eve was outside the boat, but his Eve was on the boat as well. They took over the boat and they sailed to like the Barbados. And I can't think of the name. I should have wrote the name down because, like I said, and brothers was like, it was a very spiritual story. But it was many of revolts. You know what I mean? I had a book by Claude Anderson. You know, he was interviewed on the Breakfast Club, and he wrote these books about it's a lot of history that Esau don't go into. You know what I mean? Of course not. You know, because like knowledge is power. You know what Jake to know what Jake is capable of. That's just like when you take time to look at like Jake dominates in all these sports. And that's how you know, like, the Lord perfectly set it up. Because although it's going to be a day of Jacob's trouble, when Jacob, the Lord put the spirit on Jacob to turn up, yeah, Jacob fuck shit up. You know, like, although slavery, was a punishment, the Lord also used it to, we're physically stronger than these devils. That's why we dominate all the sports. So in that day, when the Lord put the spirit on Jake to turn up, Esau gonna have to run to go get that good. You know what I mean? He not about to be able to physically do nothing with Jake. Verse 18, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So like we was just said, or like I was just saying, because like I say, it was a video like a day ago the brother Bakura Mafia did with a similar video, like the uptick in crime is going up, or crime is going up. And, he was saying, right now it's all because for those opportunists, because they see a time right now that they can capitalize. But what happens when you literally are doing this out of desperation? It's gonna be even way more severe. So if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Symbol Indian, if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Symbol Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, to the statutes and commandments, to repent and come back, or you will be destroyed along with this wicked-ass whore, Babylon the Great, a.k.a. America. With that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Call Loyam La Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Rachak with the Katab, double honors to the apostles and to the elders of great millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Shalom to the Aqua, to the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this was edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appear like the other nations, but subscribe to this truth. To you, I say Shalom. Till next time, I'm able to come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom, wath, labba, shalom.